Ready? Burn.
So what I've done here is, now we've gone over team absolutes, now we're going to talk about individual absolutes. And our individual absolutes are listed, and then right below it, I'm talking about the EDD that we would utilize to work on that absolute. So we have stance and start here, and then now we're going to work on, with that, obviously our get-off drill. Every D-line coach has a get-off drill, and because of the nature of our defense, we'll have some angle get-offs and right, left, things of that nature. Second absolute is key-driven block attack. So our key is going to tell us what type of block defeat we're going to use. So we're a spill team, so through strike progression, which is another drill, I'm not going to go into the individual drill, but is another drill we would use. It's an EDD. Right when we get done with get-offs, those kids know get up, strike progression, they go over to the 7-man or the 2-man, and they know right now to get involved with strike progression drill. So that coach doesn't need to go over how exactly to go through the drill. They know that. Now we can focus on key points throughout the drill. And so this is when we go over down block and a reach block and a double team. And then another absolute is the down-down, which if you've coached on a team that spills, the down-down block can be somewhat elusive and puzzling to a defensive lineman because they're getting a veer release from the offensive lineman, which forces them to want to come inside and spill. They have to feel pressure. We feel it's important enough that we have it as an absolute. So once again, we can work on this in our strike progression. And then last but not least, we have our pass conversion. Our pass conversion is something we've continued to work on, and we teach one pass move. We don't see a lot of passes in our conference, and we teach a rip and run. So we're going to try to disengage, and we're going to try to rip underneath our opponent through our quadrant. Linebacker absolutes, once again, stance and start. This is a reoccurring theme with all of our positions. Stance and starts, we'll go through an entire circuit of our stance and start. So we're going to work on our forward movement, our lateral movement, opening the hips, and then we also even get into our run fits with our stance and start, obviously working on and focusing on that ability to go downhill. Once again, we want to have key-driven precision attacks. And obviously what that refers to is we key a specific lineman, and those linemen are going to tell us where we need to attack. What we try to do is we try to mock an entire play with this drill. So you have a lineman giving you a key, and then from that key we have a running back giving us our secondary key or our pursuit angle. So the lineman's going to give us our initial point of attack, tell us where we need to strike, and then our running back is then going to give us an idea of the angle at which we need to pursue. Knowing your coverage responsibilities is obviously huge. We want each and every linebacker to understand their role. We do quite a bit of zone blitzing, and so it's important, dependent upon a formation or a play that we're going to see, it's very important that linebacker has a clear understanding where their drop is in relationship to what routes are being shown to him. So we don't drop, we don't placement drop, everything is route read. We have route recognition, that gives us a better idea of where we need to be versus certain routes. And then obviously I have communication, and this is a team concept. We don't necessarily have an EDD for team concept, but during EDDs all the way through, we're going to really work on communication. And that's as simple as our guard pulling. I'm able as an inside linebacker to let everybody know that I see a pulling linebacker, or excuse me, a pulling guard, and that's important. And we want to be able to work on communication all the way across with all linebackers, and that's going to give us a better opportunity to not only pursue to the football, but to also play backside defense where you can get lazy if the play's away. That brings us to defensive backs. Their absolutes, once again, stance and starts, a little bit different with defensive backs because we're going to implement change of direction as a huge part of being a defensive back.
And we're ready.
All right, so that brings us to defensive backs, absolutes, EDDs, and once again, we're focusing on stance and starts. A little bit different here, we're going to implement change of direction. That's a huge part of being a defensive back. So their EDD is all of their change of direction drills. Ball must never get outside of the corners. Because of the defense that we utilize, our corners have to make sure the ball is always turned inside. And so we do a drill called on the line, off the line, and a couple other drills that we would consider EDDs to really focus on the point of making sure the ball, the football, is always inside of the corner. Formation recognition, this is a team concept. Corners are introduced to formation recognition early on in the summer. And they're given an opportunity just about every drill, unless it's a change of direction drill, just about every drill they're given an opportunity to identify the formation, because that does a lot for us in the way of coverage. So because of the nature of utilizing different coverages, our corners are going to have to sometimes be our primary force. And so because of the primary force, they're going to have to be able to work on block to feet drills. So one of the EDDs that they'll hit each and every day is a block to feet drill. And then once again, communication, huge part of playing linebacker, huge part of playing defensive back. And those guys, if we can get them communicating prior to the play, the down and distance, the formation, little nuances of the offense that have given us an idea of what to expect, and they can relate that to each other, make any kind of formation checks they have to, puts us in a better position defensively. And so we really rely on our communication to be great. And then obviously knowing your coverage responsibilities. This is where blown coverage really takes a toll on any type of defense, and this is where big plays are made. We try to eliminate these not only through communication, but obviously knowing your coverage. And so knowing it, having an idea of where you need to be, who you're supposed to be covering, and what your responsibility is, and now communicating that throughout the entire play is going to eliminate, or by and large, try to eliminate big plays. That's all I have today. Thanks a lot.
Ready?